Okay, text number 11 in this chapter, an important verse. In text number 11, Lord Brahma is describing about how the devotee can worship the Lord in a particular form, and the Lord appears to them in that form. The devotee becomes attached to a particular form of worship. Just like Prabhu here, what's your name?
Kirtanishwara Das. Kirtanishwara Das.
Kirtanishwara. Kirtanishwara Prabhu, he worships Govardhan Shiva every day. So he's attached to that particular form of the Lord, Govardhan. There's a different devotees. Somebody's a devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev, right? Who is your Ishtadeva? Prabhu?
Yes.
Who is your Ishtadeva?
Gaunitai.
Gaunitai? Yes. What about Prabhu?
Jagannath
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Madaji? Who is your Ishtadeva? Gaunitai?
Gopal and Jagannath.
Okay.
Is Ishtadeva your personal deities or who you consider your Ishtadeva?
Yeah, the deity you're most attached to in your heart.
Oh, it does not have to be at your home, right? It can be temple deities.
The deity who you're most affected to, you're most attached to.
Okay.
The one which you pray to. The one you relate to.
Oh.
You feel the greatest affection and attachment
Then
for.
it's Radha Madhava.
Huh?
Radha Madhava.
Radha Madhava. Okay. And then Prabhupada talks about Swarupa Siddhi.
What about you, Maharaj?
Huh?
What about you, Maharaj?
Yeah, Panchatattva. I like Gaunitai Panchatattva. Usually, I find them that they're the easiest ones to approach. And Prabhupada said they are the most merciful. And he said you can worship them just by kirtan. So Prabhupada writes here in the purport, the devotee becomes attached to the eternal form of the Lord, exactly like one who is already eternally attached. This attachment for a particular form of the Lord is called Swarupa Siddhi. The Lord sits on the lotus heart of the devotee in the eternal form the pure devotee desires, and thus the Lord does not part from the devotee. Wow, as confirmed in the previous verse.
Lecture.
So that the relationship between the Lord and the devotee becomes very deeply attached to worshipping the Lord in that particular form, and the Lord reciprocates with them. The Lord becomes attached to that devotee. So, of course, we have to develop that attachment. Prabhupada talks about different kinds of devotees, sakama and niskama devotees. Devotees with material desires and devotees with no material desires. And then we hear about the demigods, and they have desires for material opulence and sense gratification. So he gives them all sorts of material happiness, but he is not satisfied with them because they are not pure devotees. The Lord does not want any one of his innumerable sons to remain in the material world. The demigods in the heavenly planets and many devotees on this planet also want to remain in the material world as devotees of the Lord and take advantage of material happiness. Do you want to remain in the material world?
No.
Right? We don't. Right? they do so at the risk of falling down to the lower status of existence, and this makes the Lord dissatisfied with them. So we should be very determined that this should be our last birth. We don't want to come back again. Right? They have that book, Coming Back, and the last chapter in the book. Have you read that book, Coming Back? No? You never read it? No? Did you? Coming Back?
Never.
Very simple book, just a very simple, small book. Coming Back. Last chapter, don't come back. If you come back, it meant you failed. Right? So you don't want to come back in this material world. And the demigods are called Sakama devotees, devotees with material desires in mind, while the pure devotees are called Niskama, because they have no desire for their personal interests. The Sakama devotees are self-interested because they do not think of others, and therefore they are not able to satisfy the Lord perfectly. Whereas the pure devotees take the missionary responsibility of turning non-devotees into devotees. They are therefore able to satisfy the Lord more than the demigods. Preaching to Bengalis is not very easy. Bengali people, they're very attached to Durga and Kali and Ramakrishna, right? How do we convince them? How do you convince a Bengali to take up Krishna consciousness?
Just distribute prasada, just encourage people to chant Hare Krishna. Because they are so attached with the demigods.
They're so attached to demigods. Not only Bengalis, South Indians also. People love demigod worship. Very much the whole political race, you know, that Mamata Banerjee, she wins because the Congress party come in and they don't speak anything good about Mother Durga. And because they don't praise Durga, so the Bengali people won't vote for them. You gotta say something nice about Mother Durga to get the Bengali votes. Politics. And so Lord Chaitanya, Advaita Acharya's time, they had these problems also. People were doing Kali Puja, worship. Even today, you know, most of Bengal is completely in love with Ramakrishna Mission and Vivekananda. You know, we've made some impact, but very slight. I mean, these two Ramakrishna sannyasis were traveling on I was there, and they said to me, our mission is 200 years old. They said like that, you know, our mission is 200 years old. You know, they're much more established than our Hare Krishna movement. You know, we're 50 years, you know, 50 years probably.
Our mission is eternal.
Eternal, yeah. But our TOVP is still under construction. Maybe the construction will be eternal too. Just like there's a Christian church in Spain. There's this beautiful cathedral they're building in Spain. They've been building it for more than 100 years. It's still going on, the construction. You know, and it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful, you know, but they haven't been able to finish it in 100 years. And so, I don't know, TOVP, you know, we've made wonderful plans, you know, but to complete the thing is difficult. So now a question arises. If the Lord is sitting in the hearts of non-devotees, why are they not moved to become devotees? It may be answered. The stubborn non-devotees are like the barren land or alkaline field where no agricultural activities can be successful. The non-devotees commit offense after offense to both the Lord And it's pure devotees engaged in missionary work. As a result of such acts, they become as barren as an alkaline field where there is no strength to produce. So this is why non-devotees don't become devotees. You get it? Offenses. Commit offenses. They don't appreciate Krishna consciousness. Anyway, and then Brahma praises pious activities. That you could do pious activities, Vedic rituals, charity, austerity, and perform with a view to worshipping the Lord. They can satisfy the Lord. They can offer the results of their work. And Lord Brahma says, such acts of religion never go in vain. So, they can offer these kind of activities for the pleasure of the Lord. It's not the highest thing, it's not pure devotion, but something they're offering to the Lord. Prabhupada writes, this offering of the results of pious acts is a sign of devotional service to the Lord and is of permanent value, whereas enjoying the same results for oneself is only temporary. So if they offer the results of that work, if they do that charity or that tapasya and whatever, if they do it for the pleasure of the Lord, then it's an act of devotion. There's some devotion there. And that piety gradually promotes them. Gradual promotion to the unalloyed devotional service. So these Prabhupada concludes that any pious acts done on account of the Lord is also recommended here for those who are not pure devotees. It's not pure devotional service, but it's pious activity, and it can bring you to devotional service. So then Lord Brahma offers his obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Remember, he's offering obeisances to Lord Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. And he's praising, taking shelter again of the Lord's lotus feet. Anybody who chants his holy name at the end of his life, certainly he will be greatly benefited. He's immediately washed of all sins, and he attains the Supreme Lord without fail. One who remembers me at the end of life, he comes to me. So like that. And then more praise of the Lord. He's offering his obeisances, the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. You have grown many branches. And Prabhupada talks again about the impersonalist always. The impersonalist does not believe in the personal management of things as they are. Personal management, right? Here we have a manager.
Yes.
Some devotees sometimes they think there's no management here. Everything is just done by chance. They don't appreciate all the efforts of the managers. Just like here in Mayapur, there's so much management required. Thousands of people coming every day, and you've got to keep the place clean. You've got to have enough toilets for everyone. You've got to have so many facilities for them. Keep them busy, keep them occupied. So, big job. And then talk about the tree in the Bhagavad Gita. Which chapter did Krishna talk about the banyan tree and the reflection? 15, yeah. And then Lord Brahma continues talking about people engaging in foolish acts. Their tendency for foolish work remains powerful. All their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. So Lord Brahma sees the foolishness of the materialistic people, how they waste their lives working, their ambitions for sense gratification. Prabhupada said, almost no one is attracted to archana activity. Everyone is more or less attracted by activities which are conditions of rebellion against the Lord. And then he says the systems of jnana and yoga are also rebellious against the Lord. There is no auspicious activity except archana of the Lord. Do you do archana? You engaged in archana? Where? In your home?
At home. Garland service at temple.
No?
Garland service at temple.
Garland service? Every day?
Yes.
Huh? Really? Every morning?
Yeah. 6.
So Lord Brahma continues offering his obeisances to the Lord. He said, I'm the leader of other planets. I have undergone many years of penance, but still I offer my respects unto you. I'm situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 paradas. What's a parada? What's the meaning? Parada?
It's 50 years of Brahma.
Yeah, 50 years of Brahma's life. Yeah. It is incumbent upon all others who are far, far below the standard of Brahma to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. So Lord Brahma is waking up. Lord Vishnu is rather waking up. Lord Brahma is ready to do the worship. The Prabhupada talks about Mangal Arti, going every morning to worship the deity. Foolish non-devotees don't understand the importance of archana. They criticize the regulative principles, and they have no eyes to see that the Lord also sleeps by his own will. Does Govardhan Shila have to sleep?
Yeah.
You put him to sleep every day?
Yeah.
In the afternoon also?
No, just in the evening. Just in the evening.
Just in the evening?
Yeah.
Prabhupada said, impersonalists always think backwards. They think that because there is form and matter, spirit should be formless. Because in matter there is sleep, in spirit there cannot be sleep. And because the sleeping of the deity is accepted in archana, archana is maya. So this kind of thinking is material. So Brahma prays to be empowered to create, And he says, I am one of the surrendered souls who is dear to the Lord. He wants to be empowered to do his service. Brahma prays, I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my work, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. And this is a big issue in this section, and Prabhupada writes about this, because in the course of doing service, we can become very affected, materially affected. Just like Kirtaneshwara Prabhu is in charge of a temple, was it?
Tucson, not in charge, but Krishna Cove. Is that what you're talking about?
Ah, Krishna Cove. You're in charge of Krishna Cove.
Yeah, I do a lot of managing in Tucson also, but I'm not the temple president.
Okay. And what about Prabhu? Where are you managing?
Montreal.
Montreal. Oh, okay. And you're in charge of the temple then?
Yeah, you can say that, yeah.
Temple president?
At this particular time we don't have president, but we have a council.
You're in charge of the council there, isn't it? Council man. It's difficult to get one person to run a temple nowadays. They find it easier to have councils. Anyway, but taking that kind of responsibility is not easy. And Prabhupada writes about this here in this section of the Bhagavatam. He says, every person engaged in the loving service of the Lord in this material world is prone to so many material activities. And if one is not strong enough to protect himself against the onslaughts of material affection, he may be diverted from the spiritual energy. Alright? You get a position, you get some material facility, you know, you have some power, and you can abuse it, yeah, and you can fall into Maya. It's a very dangerous situation, and of course in the history of our movement it's happened many times. Different people, different devotees, they were doing a lot of valuable service, but somehow they became overwhelmed. Prabhupada said, an ordinary Brahmana may fall from the Brahma Tejas, or the power of Brahminical excellence, due to his association with many fallen, conditioned souls. So Brahma is afraid of such a fall down, and he prays to the Lord for protection. Prabhupada said, this is a warning for one and all in the spiritual advancement of life. Unless one is sufficiently protected by the Lord, he may fall down from his spiritual position. Therefore, one has to pray constantly to the Lord for protection and the blessing to carry out one's duty. Prabhupada said one time they were there was a big pandal, and Prabhupada was being appreciated by the audience, and Prabhupada remarked to the devotees, he said, I'm always praying to Krishna, please don't let me fall down. So Prabhupada, of course, Prabhupada very elderly and senior, but still he was praying to Krishna like that. So he was instructing all of us. We have to constantly pray to Krishna. And Prabhupada talks about Lord Chaitanya, that he assured his devotees of protection. But he said the path of spiritual life is like the edge of a razor. Very easy to get cut. A little inattentiveness made once great havoc and bloodshed. But one who is a completely surrendered soul, note, completely surrendered, always seeks protection from the Lord in the discharge of his entrusted duty. He has no fear of falling into material contamination. And it's very easy to fall into Maya. And especially if you have a position, a big position, then it's very difficult, very easy to be affected. So Brahma continues praying to the Lord to protect him, make sure he does not fall. Lord Brahma is entrusted with the management of the complete cosmic show, and therefore he prays that the Lord bestow his blessings upon him, so that he may execute its purpose. Just like Prabhu, what's your name, Prabhu? Prana Gauranga. Prana Gauranga is managing in Montreal. So Montreal, in the ISKCON temple in Montreal, Brahma is managing the whole cosmic creation. Just imagine, if Prana Gauranga Prabhu feels the pressure of looking after the ISKCON center in Montreal, just imagine what it's like for Lord Brahma, who's managing the whole cosmic manifestation. So inconceivable, so difficult. Yeah, I mean, being a manager is certainly a challenge, very difficult thing to do.
You have to deal with a lot of people that may not be favorable for your devotional service sometimes.
Yeah, Prabhupada's saying that. You have to deal with a lot of materialistic people, and you can be affected by that. So Brahma, after penance and mental concentration, he could see the source of its birth, and thus he became enlightened through his heart. The spiritual master outside and the spiritual master within are both representatives of the Lord. Unless one has contact with such bona fide representations, one cannot claim to be spiritual master. Lord Brahma had no opportunity to take the help of a spiritual master, because at that time Brahma himself was the only creature in the universe. Therefore, becoming satisfied by the prayers of Brahma, the Lord enlightened him about everything from within.
Maharaj, question.
Hmm?
You said Brahma is managing. Isn't it that Brahma is just the creator and Vishnu is the maintainer, who's the manager of whatever Brahma created?
Yeah, that's right, yes.
So
Yeah,
why
Vishnu-
is Brahma referred to manager?
Why is he?
Referred to manager then?
Well, he is, he's got to manage the creation. Creation also takes some management.
And then Vishnu is maintaining. So what's the difference between managing and maintaining?
Well, it depends, maintaining, but creation, you have to manage the creation, you have to make sure the creation comes about. Just like we heard that it had stopped at one point, right? The demigods, they couldn't function, and they had to offer prayers. In that time, then they created the universal form. And then after the creation of the universal form, then you got Lord Brahma, he takes his birth. And then Lord Brahma, he's given the task of doing the secondary work of creation. The Lord has begun the creation, but the secondary part's got to be done. And so it's a big job. Yeah, Vishnu is maintaining, but that maintaining, that's more making sure everything goes on nicely. When the demigods get problems from the demons, then the Lord will come and adjust the situation like he did. Came as Lord Vamana Dev to bring back everything. Yeah?
We also see that Brahma is actively taking a role in asking Lord Vishnu to come down. He's praying to Krishna at the milk ocean. So Brahma is also thinking about these things throughout the Bhagavatam. We find that Brahma came down and tried to convince Priyavata Maharaj to become a Grihastha. Brahma is also engaged in trying to make sure things go right.
Yeah. Yeah, they all help out. Sometimes Lord Shiva comes and does things, and you help for the maintenance. His main task is annihilation, but he also helps in creation, carry the glands, and he'll help kill a demon sometimes. And so similarly also, Vishnu, he's the maintainer, but he gets help other times. Not so hard and fast. Also, Brahma is anxious about the planning and construction. So this is creation. You see, he's worried about the construction and the planning, the different planetary systems. And he was depressed seeing the devastating water. What water? A Garbodak ocean. And half of the universe was water. So Brahma was worried. He saw all the water. He was depressed. So that water was fearful that even Brahma was perturbed at the appearance and became anxious about how to situate the different planets in space to accommodate the different kinds of living entities. I think different kinds of living entities, the humans, the superhumans, the subhumans. You've got humans on the hellish planets, and you've got humans on the higher planets, the demigods. So they're all different. You have to accommodate all their needs. You have to make sure everyone gets what they need. In the government, if the people are going hungry, then they'll blame the government. So Lord Brahma has to accommodate different places and situations. He has to arrange everything. So he's made his prayer, and then now we're here, the Supreme Lord replied to him. And he said, oh, you don't have to be depressed and anxious, don't worry. What you are begging from me has already been granted before. It's already arranged. Prabhupada writes, the person entrusted with a responsibility should always be aware of his incapacity and must always look for the mercy of the Lord for the successful execution of his duty. So, the mercy of the Lord for the successful execution. You want whatever we're doing, whatever task is given to us, we're dependent on the mercy of the Lord. We can do nothing ourselves, but if the Lord gives us the mercy, then it can be done, then it can happen. They did a big program, they had this big pandal in New Delhi. In the beginning, Prabhupada brought the devotees there. They had the World Sankirtan Party, and they were traveling in India, and they put on a big pandal in New Delhi. And they had a great program. It was very successful. Many people came, and everyone liked the program. Everyone was very favorable. So after the whole function was over, all the devotees gathered together. They were so confident. One devotee said, we did it, Prabhupada, we did it. He was feeling so. And Prabhupada said, we didn't do anything. Krishna did it. Okay. So Prabhupada was correcting his mentality that we're not the doer. But if everything goes well, we give the credit to Krishna. And if we fail, then it's our fault, right? Just like this one devotee used to cook for he was a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He was a brahmachari, elderly man. He never took sannyas. His name was Anand. Prabhu. And he sometimes he would come and cook for the devotees at the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan. And he would come and he would cook, and not only would he cook, after it had all been offered, he would serve it out to the devotees. And the devotees would say, "Oh, Anand Prabhu, your prasadam is delicious, this is great," you know. They were really enjoying his cooking. And Anand would say to them, "If it tastes good, then thank Krishna. And if it's bad, then you blame me." Right? So that is the thinking of the devotee, that we give the credit to Krishna, but if it's no good, we take the blame. Prabhupada said one should not be puffed up because he's entrusted with certain executive work. Fortunate is he who is so entrusted, and if he is always fixed in the sense of being subordinate to the will of the Supreme, he's sure to come out successful in the discharge of the work. And then later on Prabhupada writes, anyone who takes pride in doing responsible work but does not give credit to the Supreme Lord is certainly falsely proud and cannot execute anything nicely. So, like that, we may have a nice temple, we give the credit to Krishna. We can't do anything. You make a lot of devotees, you distribute a lot of books, you get a good income for the temple. Krishna's doing it. Krishna's providing. We're just the instrument. We're just engaged in Krishna's service. So we should always have that mood. Remember, Krishna's the real doer. We're just simply instruments in his service. So Lord Brahma is being told, he's being instructed here by the personality of Godhead. Situate yourself in penance and meditation. Follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. By these actions you will be able to understand everything from within your heart. From within your heart. Prabhupada talks about Buddhi Yoga, the knowledge coming. Right? Krishna said, to those who are constantly devoted to me,
serving me in love, which they can come to me.
I give the understanding by which they may come to me. And then the Lord says to Brahma, he said, you will see me. In the course of your activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe. And you will see that you yourself, the universe, and all living entities are all in me. Right? Have you heard this before?
Yeah.
What did you hear? Yes, right. Everything is in me, but I am not in them. Behold my mystic opulence. And in the 6th chapter also, for one who sees me everywhere,
Everything in me, I've never lost him, nor is he ever lost me.
Yomam Pashati Sarvatra
Sarvam
Sarvam Chamai Pashati. So Mother Yashoda saw all the universes within the mouth of Krishna. And Lord Brahma saw millions of Brahmas. And Lord Brahma saw Krishna everywhere. And all the cows and the super soul everywhere. They were all worshipping Krishna. Oh, this is text 32. Again, this nice example is given. Lord is telling Brahma, he said, just as fire is situated in wood, you will see me in all living entities as well as all over the universe. Just as fire is situated in wood. Fire in wood, right? Prabhupada explained there are many different kinds of wood, different varieties of wood. You get, papaya tree, you get the coconut tree, you get the tamao tree, you get the banyan tree. There's so many different wood, and fire is in them. Different degrees of fire. Prabhupada explained, the fire kindled in wood is always the same, although the wood may be of different types. Similarly, the bodies within the material creation may be specifically different according to shape and quality, but the spirit souls within them are not different from one another. Spirit souls, right? We have different bodies, but we're all spirit souls. Our spirit souls are not different. Our bodies may be different. I have a Caucasian body, you have an Asian body, right? Different bodies like that. We have different bodies, but the soul is the same. The body is just recovering of that soul. So the same way that the fire in the wood is the same, although the wood is all different. So the Lord goes on to tell Lord Brahma that you will be free of all the influence, you will realize your pure form in my association. The Lord is Swarat, or fully independent, and the servant is also fully independent, or Swarat, in the spiritual atmosphere, because there is no forced service. The real service, or service in Swarup, is present in the transcendental world, in association with the Lord. What is the difference between service in the material world and service in the spiritual world? What would be the difference?
Material world service is filled with things that get in our way, like there's inhibited. There's things that inhibit our service in the material world, where spiritual world the service is uninhibited.
Yeah. Anything else?
In spiritual world, they're the servant of the Lord, and in material world, they're just servant of the senses, or your own self, selfish. It's selfless service, and then there's selfish service.
Maharaj asked, you asked what is the difference between the service of the Lord and the material world and the spiritual world.
Yeah. In the material world, service is not based on spontaneous love. Right? Service is based on spontaneous love. Yeah. Material world is all based on material motivation. Yeah, you want what I'm going to get. What are you going to give me? What will I get from it? So that is not real love. That is not mood. And Prabhupada gives some examples. He said he calls it reflected service, is experienced the service of a mother to the son. The mother, women, they have a son, they're very attached to their son. My son. And then the friend service unto the friend, the wife service unto the husband. Like that, the kind of loving service. These reflections of service are not forced, but they're due to love. We hope, the wife loves her husband, she will serve him. The friend will take concern for the friend. The mothers very concerned for her son. So, in real service, everything is in relationship to Krishna. So, transcendental love is done without any material motivation. So it's spontaneous. Prabhupada talks about the forced service of the material world. People say, I'm not the servant, I don't want to be the servant. But Prabhupada said, everyone's the servant of their senses. You're the servant of your senses, you're not the master of the material world. You have to serve the senses. The impersonalists, they don't like the idea of service, but they don't understand the nature of transcendental service. Transcendental service is based on love. And Prabhupada said, the servitor is as free as the Lord. As Krishna is fully independent, so the servant is also fully independent. There's no force. Material world, we're forced. You have to have a job, you have to earn some money, bring the money, where's the money? Forced service. And how much will you pay me? I work for you, how much will you pay me? Right? You want to know, what's the salary? Nobody will work for nothing. So that's forced service. But the real service is serving Krishna. So the Lord is happy that Brahma wants to increase the population. He said, by my causeless mercy, you will always increase for all time. A pure devotee of the Lord, being cognizant of the facts of the particular time, object and circumstance, always desires to expand the number of devotees of the Lord in various ways. Right? Have you got more devotees in Montreal? Are you trying to expand the number of devotees there?
It will happen.
Huh?
It will happen.
It will happen?
At some point.
Really? You got some preaching program to bring them in?
We have Harinam in book distribution, and currently we're starting a program of Kirtan on Fridays.
You think that will bring in devotees? Will that help you expand the number of devotees? Prabhupada said, this boy said 10 devotees waiting for initiation. 10? Not a very big number. America? Millions of people there. Only 10 devotees. Yeah. How are we going to expand the number of devotees? We want to see millions of devotees, right?
Keeping devotees is another thing.
Well, they don't all have to come and live in the temple. You know? They can be congregational devotees. You know, they can keep the job and still be devotees. You know, most of the people in India are congregation devotees. They don't all live in the temple. You can't expect everybody, okay, you gotta shave your head, move in the temple, we'll give you a dhoti, put on the dhoti, you know. No. You know, well, most people, they can be devotees, they keep a job, can keep their hair. Yeah. Okay. They can have a family, no problem. Just give half your salary for the temple. You gotta give 50%. But expand the number of devotees. Different programs. Kartik, next festival, Kartik, get everybody offer a lamp. Janmashtami, big festival. Rath Yatra, big festival. Atlanta, you have the Shiradahi festival, Panihati. Panihati festival in Atlanta, right? That's the big festival there.
Swami comes with every year.
Yeah, he was coming every year, he would do it. Huh?
Even still he comes.
Even still?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And he would lead the auction, right? They would have the auction there every year for the different pots of yogurt and stuff like that.
I'm not sure. I've never been to one in Atlanta.
Yeah, they paint the pots nicely, and then they paint the pots like different themes, and then they have different ingredients list, and then they auction.
Different ingredients.
Yeah, salty.
And they auction them, right?
Yeah, they auction them.
People bid for them. Yeah, Atlanta. Alright. Now, so the Lord is very encouraging to Brahma. He's saying, your mind will always be fixed on me and everything. Still, Prabhupada writes, if sometimes Brahma is seen to be bewildered, as in the 10th canto, he is bewildered by seeing the action of the internal potency. That is also for his further advancement in transcendental service. Do you remember that? Brahma's bewilderment in the 10th canto?
Yes.
What happened?
He got bewildered seeing Krishna with his friends exchanging the same food and behaving in an ordinary way. He was bewildered. How could Krishna, the cowherd boy, be the supreme personality of God?
Yeah, Brahma was bewildered seeing everybody because I've stolen away the cows and the cowherd boys, but they're all there. How could they all be there? Right? So it was bewildering. And then Krishna also revealed the super soul everywhere. They were all bowing down and offering obeisances. And so Brahma became, and there were so many Brahmas also and Shivas, and they were all bowing down to Krishna. And so Brahma became completely bewildered. But that bewilderment is for his advancement. It's meant for their further advancement in knowledge of the Lord. So being bewildered by Krishna, by his inconceivable potencies, it's a blessing, it's great fortune. So the Lord says, I'm not easily knowable, but you've known me today. You know that my personality is not material. So that's a big step forward. He realized that the Lord to be fully, totally transcendental. No difference between his body and no difference between the Lord and his different spiritual forms. Nothing material. And there's no difference between his body and his self. So that is the spiritual form of the Lord.
I have a question.
And so the Lord reminds Brahma how he said, you dived into the lotus flower, into the stem of the lotus, you were looking for me, you could not trace out the source of the lotus. But the Lord said, at that time I manifested my form from within. So the Lord himself, by his causeless mercy, revealed himself to Lord Brahma. and that's important, that only by the Lord's causeless mercy can we understand anything about Him.
Mara, I have a question regarding the bewilderment one.
Yeah?
That how does it apply to us? Like you said, getting bewilderment is like it helps you further advance in transcendental service.
Yeah.
How does it like apply to us? Like,
well, if we get bewildered by, trying to understand the potencies of Krishna, that's also good for us. Will help us to understand more the inconceivable potency of Krishna. The more you contemplate Lord Krishna and try to understand His nature and His inconceivable and unlimited qualities, the more we will become bewildered. And that bewilderment is making spiritual advancement. Right? So are you bewildered?
I just sent a picture of Radhamadava today to some devotees. And I said, it's hard to comprehend how beautiful God is. And then a very senior devotee said, you'll spend your entire, yet we spend eternity trying to just do just that, to comprehend how beautiful Krishna is. It's uncomprehendable.
Mm-hmm. When we look at Radha Madhava every day, you can see the beauty. Radha Madhava, how majestic he is and so attractive. So understanding these wonderful qualities which are in Krishna, this is all the causeless mercy of Krishna, that we are appreciating more about the Lord. Prabhupada said, voluntary endeavor is the only qualification for spiritual perfection. Material acquisitions of wealth or education are not considered. Voluntary endeavor, giving ourselves fully up to the service of the Lord, being willing to do anything for the Lord. Whatever service opportunity we can get, we should grab it. We should be very happy, very pleased to get that opportunity. Because that opportunity to render some little service, that can purify our heart, that can help us to come closer to the Lord and to know Him better. So the Lord tells Brahma, I grant all your benedictions, all your desires to glorify all the planets by your activities. I'm very pleased by your description. Prabhupada said, a pure devotee of the Lord like Brahma and those in his line of disciplic succession always desire that the Lord be known all over the universe by each and every one of the living entities. So Prabhupada certainly desired like that, sending people everywhere, to remote corners of the world. Prabhupada was in Florida. He said, let us go back to Mayapur, back to Godhead. He said, we're here in this remote corner of the world, Florida. We want to distribute the message of Krishna all over the universe. It's a big job. So we're told anybody who prays like Brahma, the prayers which were offered at the beginning of this chapter, they'll be blessed with the fulfillment of all of his desires. The Lord said, I am the Lord of all benediction. But the prayers, Prabhupada points out, these prayers of Brahma cannot be chanted by anyone who wants his own sense gratification. We have to be pure at heart. We have to give up material desires. So prayers, it's nice to pray, but the heart must be pure. So many people offer prayers, but their prayers are not very pleasing to the Lord. They pray with all their list of, they think it's like going to the supermarket. 1 kilo of this and 6 that. So we come to the Lord and we have a list of all of our wants. So the Lord concludes, he's telling Brahma that all the good works, penances, sacrifice, charities, mystic activities, trances, is all done to invoke my satisfaction. So everything, all these different pious activities, they should be done for the satisfaction of the Lord. And that way, then you'll get some benefit. But if we do them for our own just thinking of our own concern, then you won't get much benefit. So that's the standard. Everything must be done for the satisfaction of the Lord. Otherwise, shrama eva hi kevalam. Simply a waste of time. Simply waste of labor. So people that are attached to the body, they should be attached to the Lord only. We waste our time being attached to the material body. Prabhupada writes about the basic principle of love for everything. He says everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. Right? Flickering happiness, chapala sukha. So flickering love. Right? Love today, divorce tomorrow. The more one is affected by the principle of Maya, the more he is detached from the basic principle of love. One cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in the loving service of the Lord. If we don't love Krishna, then whatever love there in the material world will not endure, will not last. Radhanath Swami wrote a lot about this. I was reading one of his books. He was writing about love, and he was giving examples of different devotees, how they had so much love for others, how they sacrificed themselves for others. He talked about that one lady from New Vrindavan, Ladini. That she had gone to Africa, and somehow it happened that one devotee there in Africa, he wrote a letter to the crazy man who was like in charge of the country. He was a soldier, he'd taken charge of the country, had a coup, and this one devotee wrote to him and said, why don't you, stop doing this? Why don't you stop all the killing and just do something good for the people? And he got really angry. He sent the soldiers over to kill everyone. And they got all the men and said, we're going to kill all the men. And Ladini, she's an American, she was there with all these African devotees. And she said, no, you cannot take these men. And she wouldn't let them take them in. And they ended up killing her. And so she got shot down. So she gave her life because she had so much love for the devotees. So that was love. You don't often see that kind of love. So we have, in the pure state, then we will have that love. Love means to Krishna. There is no love in the material world. There's only, Prabhupada said, because they have no love for Paramatma, they remain entrapped by the influence of Maya. And they're unable to approach the vicinity of Paramatma. And then Prabhupada gives an example. A rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth. Therefore, in spite of his being very rich, his miserly behavior keeps him everlastingly a poor man. You women are all laughing. They're laughing about the miserly man. But Prabhupada said, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can very quickly become a rich man, even with a small credit balance. And there was an example, one man, he didn't have any money, and then at one point there was this epidemic in Calcutta, and people were dying, and they said, anybody who brings a dead rat will pay you money. And so this man got some dead rat, and he got the money for the dead rat, and then he used that money to make more money, and then more money. He ended up becoming a very rich man. At one point he didn't have any money. He got some money, he started from a dead rat, some money. So that way he knew how to utilize his wealth. On the other case, you got people who are very rich, have a lot of money, never use the money, never use it for anything. And so they're just like a poor man.
So what do you go do with dead rats?
The government would just wanted all the dead rats because the rats were causing the disease. It was spreading the disease, you see. So the government telling people, you bring a rat, we'll reward you. You get paid. So the man started his business like that. He got a dead rat, he got some money from a dead rat. And he went on to make more money, more money. Anyway, that idea of love is very important, feeling love. Material world, there is no real love. There's only the bitterness of the material world. Prabhupada talks about a devotee of the sun god, even though devoid of all eyesight, can see the sun god as he is, even from this planet. One who is not a devotee of the sun cannot even bear the glaring sunlight. Similarly, by devotional service, even though one is not on the level of a jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. In all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead. That will solve all contending problems. Right? The goal of life, to develop love of God. And so this loving principle is very important. When we can see Krishna within himself due to the development of pure love. we have to try to develop these kind of qualities. So the Lord tells Brahma, you follow my instructions, you can develop, you can generate the living entities as before. As before the creation was there. So in this way the Lord instructed Brahma, and after he had instructed him, then he disappeared. And it's the end of Lord Brahma's prayers for creative energy. Any questions on that? We will hear tomorrow the visions of the creation. We're going to hear how Lord Brahma goes about creation. Now he's become empowered, he's become encouraged by the Lord. And you can do it, right? You can do it. Just like Battle of Kurukshetra, Duryodhana's telling, he's telling Dronacharya, watch out, you can do it, you can win. So here the Lord was encouraging Lord Brahma, you can do it, you've done it before, you can do it. Nothing is impossible. So we have to be inspired, hearing the instructions of the Lord to Brahma. And we should also think how to spread Krishna consciousness, how to increase the number of devotees. Number of devotees, certainly number of visitors to Mayapur is increasing. No problem there, huh?
Yes.
A lot of people eating prasada every day. People like the prasada. What about in Calcutta? They're making a lot of devotees there?
We're trying to Maharaj. So devotees generally in program, big program is generally coming, but following the four devotee principle, especially the meeting, very yes, very fond.
Huh?
They're very fond of eating fish. There is one proverb, this machu bhate Bangali. So without rice and without fish.
Right.
Well, I thought the solution to that is urdal. If they have urdal, isn't that got the taste of fish or something? Urdal pakora or something?
No.
No?
It does not completely replace the fish.
Oh yeah?
Also the Brahminical culture also not good. The Brahmin, they just put from birth to death, just put the fish in everywhere in the ceremony. Where is taking rice ceremony and where is giving shraddha. From rice ceremony to shraddha.
All the
If you follow any culture or if you
marriage,
puja is there, so they should offer the fish as auspicious things. Fish is auspicious for them.
If you eat fish, we can all kinds of meat. I'm not saying that God without a fish is a saint.
And also the culture, like in the British culture, like people in Kolkata are more materialistic. They do not want to, it's really difficult. They're more like atheistic and materialistic. They're running behind going to USA, achieving success, like economic development. They're not interested in spirituality as much.
It seems like that ISKCON Newtown temple. It seems like they're making devotees. I visit there every time I come to India. I stay a week or two there.
Oh yeah?
And they seem like they always tell me they're very successful. Don't tell us that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
My family members are there in Kolkata, and it's a big, huge family, but no one's interested.
No devotees.
They're all busy money day and night. All they do is just go for work and then come to eat lunch, sleep, go for work till midnight, come back, sleep. Like, that's it. That's their life.
Do they eat fish?
Yeah, non-veg, meat, fish, egg, everything.
Oh my God. What about Montreal?
What can I say?
Do people eat fish there?
If you find someone who didn't break one of the regulative principles, he's very opportunity.
Besides devotees, devotee children in America, I don't know anybody who has not broken a regular principle by the time they're in
It's life. Life is this four thing. Prabhupada is, it's their life. These four things is their life.
Yeah.
Oh?
You know Maharaj, you're from...
Yeah, from the West. But, so,
Things were purer back then. Though,
huh?
sometimes people were a little more pure, I think, in the past than now.
Yeah.
We have more success. We have like young people from other countries. They're really interesting.
From other countries.
We have a brahmachari from Cuba. So generally they're not as mentally disturbed. We have a boy from Brazil who comes who's getting serious. And if we look generally in the past, I mean Canada is very multi also, but generally people who are in from other culture are not as spoiled, if I can say, they have a better chance at Krishna consciousness. That's what I see. There's a better contact and reception. And in city, it's not like, at least in Canada, it's less than half is local. Most people, maybe from this part or that part. It's more international preaching.
Do people mix together well? They get along well with each other?
Yeah.
It's not too ratio. It's not ratio, is it?
No, nothing. At least, yeah, not really.
It's in the South.
Do you have a restaurant there?
No?
No. Not a lot of prasadam distribution.
Some, we have catering. It's a few days a week.
Catering.
Yeah, like food delivery, prasad delivery.
Yeah. People order it and you supply it. That would be for like Indian families or something, for a wedding.
Yeah. Or devotees or some others also.
Yeah, difficult. Yeah, I know. It's difficult. But still, something has been done.
Yeah, we have Harinam 5-6 days every week.
5-6 days a week. Wow, that's a lot. Every day almost.
We do 1,000 books a month or sometimes more.
Sell them?
Only
You sell them or give them away?
No, we sell books.
You sell them?
Yeah.
Good. A lot of places want to just give them away and don't sell them.
Yeah, no, we don't get into it. Other places in Canada, but it's not our understanding what Prabhupada says. We always sell them.
Good. Yeah, if you can, it's better for them if you pay something for the book. No, I was hearing Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He was on a television program. I think it was in Canada.
Where? Way back.
Maybe Vancouver or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the man was saying to him, "You guys, you're always on the street selling your books." And he said, "No, no." He said, "That was in the beginning." He said, "Now we give them out."
Oh, he said.
He said, in the beginning, he said, we're selling them out. But he said, nowadays, he said, we give them away. He said, we just had to begin our movement. We were just beginning our movement, so we were selling the books. But he said, now we have a congregation, we have devotees, and he said, usually we just give the books out.
That's an old tradition.
Huh?
That's like from the 80s, I think.
That's one of the best interviews. Maharaj was so cool. You're a cop out. You're the cop out.
He said?
He said, you're the cop out. Copping out of the Lord's service.
He said something to him like, eat people who just eating meat, fish and eggs, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. And the guy, he couldn't say anymore, because he knew he engaged in all these activities, So Gopal Krishna Maharaj put him on the spot, He said, our devotees are all saintly, following these principles.
Yeah, anyway. There's many factors. Something can be done, miracles can happen. We saw it. But one thing is economic development. Life is so-called easy. Prabhupada said, when did all the church become empty? When there was economic boom, basically.
You guys should get tons of devotees there, shouldn't you, in Canada? It's all going downhill. All the economy in Canada is going downhill.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
We're on the verge of
President just resigned, so things might get good.
The economy is dwindling then,
Now, the president just resigned recently, the Canada president, so
Did he?
yeah.
The American president said we were going to annex.
51st state, right?
He's going to annex US. Wants to annex Canada.
Annex Canada.
What's that?
Who wants to annex it?
American president.
Oh, the American president.
Oh.
We'll get more religious freedom though. That would be good for Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
Really? You don't have much religious freedom there?
Well, not like America.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the what kind of restrictions do you have?
Was not.
Anything that's slightly public or even not public, like in America, what's public is protected, and schools are mostly considered public, or the street, or this or that. And protected means you can talk about God all you want. But in Canada, it's not like this. Is a public? It's the opposite. It's like, wait a minute, I'm government, so, and this is public, so you're not going to talk about God. It's like the opposite, basically. Because it's public, you can't talk about God. Whereas in America, because it's public, you're allowed to talk about by right, you're allowed to talk about God. If I can say, in summary. So you can't really go to any school, it's very like hermetic.
Oh, you cannot go to school and preach then?
Be very undercover.
Oh. So how do you make university preaching?
No.
We don't have like some places we have like Bhakti Yoga Club. Not so developed. Mostly our team, we're Brahmachari, so we go to school and we sell books. We try to keep contact, but we don't have like a structured thing because it's not so. It can be done, but it's not made easy. It's not encouraged. Yeah. America, you go there and here's the Bible table, here's the Catholic table, here's this table. And all the other, come. You have the Krishna table. not a big deal, you know. But there is more like, did you say this is like spiritual? I think I'm gonna have to give this to the office, so we have to check about this. What I do. It's a socialist mindset.
One American do like that too. Big court case in Los Angeles about that too. Prasada distribution. Is prasada distribution considered a free act of free speech? And this devotee will do that if you that's why he's been fighting that court case for almost 10 years now.
Regarding prasadam.
Yeah. Because he wants to distribute prasadam at the University of LA or UC Los Angeles, yeah. And his claim is that the distribution of prasadam is protected under the First Amendment, which is the right to free speech.
Yeah.
And so they're saying that no, it's not. And so they're fighting him because it's mostly greed-based because the people who have restaurants at the campus don't like that because he wants to distribute free prasadam at the campus. And so they're having a big court case about that. And there's that devotee lawyer, Amarendra, that's the devotee lawyer.
Yeah, Amarendra, that's the one, yeah, from Gainesville.
Yeah, I think he lives in California now.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's the one, him and Gopinath Prabhu, they're fighting the Los Angeles, UC California, or UC, University of California, Los Angeles. They're in a court case about whether it's okay to distribute prasadam or not. And actually Gopinath won, and they appealed it again, and then he won again, and they're appealing it again. So it's going up to the second highest court in America, which is not the Supreme Court, but the Superior Court. It's a very high court. And it could go to the Supreme Court, actually. If they appeal it again, then they'll have to, the Supreme Court, then at least the Supreme Court will look at it and see if it's worth it or not. So it's very, very big.
So in the meantime, they're not doing prasadam.
Well, they weren't, but now he has a food truck now, and he's kind of outside the campus distributing, doing the same thing. But I haven't talked with him since I've been in India, so when I get back, I'll talk with him. He's a very good teacher guru figure for me. He's the devotee I met when I first got the book. First met.
What's his name?
Govinda Datta.
Govinda.
Yeah, he's a Prabhupada disciple.
Oh, he used to be with Vishnu Jan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one who was with Vishnu Jan. Yeah, I remember. Well, he's a lawyer now?
No, he's working with Amarendra Prabhu.
Oh, he's working with Amarendra's lawyer. Yeah, he was in Gainesville and then he went to LA. And he did a lot of cases there too for the book distribution, to help get the book distribution. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna. Let me see this. You switch now? So wait, you're doing 16 through 21 now? Someone told me you want to do 1.1.2.6.